What's up, y'all? Ryan Schul here. Welcome to my channel. In the project today, I want to show you how to create an auto SWOT, which is an abbreviation for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. SWOT analysis to generate business strategies. Okay, so you probably heard about this. It's probably come up on your radar at some point or another. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats is um, short for SWOT, right? And we can use this to understand, how strong is the company, how weak is the company, right? What kind of opportunities does this company have exposed to them, or what kind of opportunities they have available to them, and then what kind of threats are available in terms of competition, or someone taking some of your business away from you, right? So we can look at pipeline architecture, Google News, Bing News, there's Reuters, there's Bloomberg News, there's all kinds of sources for news, right? I prefer Google, I like that one a lot, but there's a lot of sources out there. We're going to go fetch news articles, summarize them, right? Look at key trends, risks, opportunities, threats, things like this, strengths, weaknesses, and extract the strength and weaknesses from the product, the mission, and the about pages themselves, right? So when we jump into this, we can see strengths are things like what is a company good at? What do they do? Like Microsoft develops software, right? Amazon develops, not develops, sells everything, right? And they develop, was it Amazon Web Services? So they have a lot of like internet services and things like that. So they're good at those things. Opportunities, external threats that the company can, or external trends that the company can benefit from, and threats or external risks or challenges that the companies face, right? So some examples of strengths are competitive advantage, strong performance, core strengths, market leader in whatever area you operate in. Weaknesses, the company struggles with this, or they have a high churn or high turnover rate, or customer complaints or lawsuits, right? Opportunities could include emerging markets for new growth, for new products, growth potential in such and such area, things like this, right? Expansion opportunities, or creating partnerships with other companies, right? And threats obviously are regulatory risks, supply chain issues, supply chain disruption, things like this, right? Competitive forces and market slowdowns. So let's jump in with both feet. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch some articles from Google News. I like this Google News a lot. So they have RSS. Actually forgot what that stands for. Let me take a look at this thing. RSS is news feed. RSS. Oh, really simple syndication. Okay, I used to know that. I forgot that. So really simple syndication is a type of news feed. You see this everywhere in Reuters, Bloomberg, RSS, Stack Overflow does this, right? And you can import that into different mediums. You can actually import it into your email if you want it. You can just read these news articles generally online if you prefer to do that. So I'm going to hit this endpoint and fetch this data. I'm going to look for certain keywords, including competitive advantage, strong performance, core strength, market leader struggles with. This is going to be a weakness, regulatory risk that could be a threat in emerging markets for potential growth potential and expansion opportunities. So this is our whole foundation for SWOT. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and import the data, fetching competitive advantage, fetching strong performance, core strength, struggles with high churn, emerging markets, growth potential, expansions, partnerships, regulatory risk, and market slowdown. Okay, so here's the news articles. We have 1,600 news articles. So 1,599, or is it actually 16,000? Oh, whatever. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, and everything is appended together. So you can see the titles over here, the publication date, and then the source, and then the link to the actual article itself. So we're going to go ahead and create a pipeline here using a dictionary mapping system, and we're going to map all the SWOTs from competitive advantage, which are going to be strengths, strength, 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 weaknesses. This is the W, and SWOT O, these are the opportunities, right? And this is the T in SWOT. So regulatory risk, supply chain, competition from market slowdown. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a lot of stuff. We go fetch the data from Google News. We create a little loop over here, okay, to loop through all of these items for KW and keywords. This is short for keywords. KW is just like an abbreviation for all keywords. And you can see the keyword is the list. So we iterate through all the objects on this list. We print it first. We're fetching and printing the keyword. And then we take everything and append it to a data frame, or convert that to a data frame, and then concatenate all the data frames together. So concatenation is a way to merge things together. There's two ways to do it. You can concatenate or you can do a merge. Either one is fine, okay? So that's how we get this list, and we end up with 4 columns and 1,600 rows consisting of all of these SWOT items, okay? So everything is gonna be mapped together, and then basically like defined, we're gonna create a SWOT definition. So is this a strength, an opportunity, a weakness, or a threat based on the news article itself? So GSK and BCLXL inhibition migrates the company, so on and so forth. That sounds like a strength. Okay, that's the S in SWOT. Crypto's competitive advantage. That sounds like a strength, right? So uncategorized. If we can't categorize this, it goes into another bucket. Construction firm embracing tech giant competition. We don't really know if that's a SWO or T or something else. It goes into uncategorized. This sounds like a strength. Cash producing stock with competitive advantage. That's definitely a strength. If we go down here a little bit, strength, opportunities. A lot of these are actually strengths. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. There's a weakness. Okay, 10 things AI struggles with. That's a weakness. Wednesday 2 p.m. trailer, season 2 trailer. Global auto industry struggles. That's a weakness, right? So we're just taking all these news articles and trying to bucket them into a SWO or T sort of definition, okay? So I source some opportunity, creates a partnership, that's an opportunity, takes a look on robo-taxis, that's an opportunity, and a threat. We had some threats down here. Regulatory risk definition, compliance, that sounds threatening to me. Threats, FINRA's Miami enforcement action signals a new threat. We're going to call this a threat. So you can see how we go fetch the information from Google News. We get about 1,600 news articles, and then we create buckets based on the likelihood of this article being a strength, opportunity, weakness, or a threat. Let me save this real quick here and refresh the page. Okay, I think we have what we need. This is refreshing. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. We're fetching the news articles, bucketing them into SWOs or Ts, and then creating a SWOT score, okay? So anything that matches SWOT based on this logic that we assigned above, right? We had some basic mapping logic. We put that into a bucket. If it meets one of those conditions, SWO or T, we give it a 1.0 as a score. And if it doesn't, then 0.0, right? It's just not falling into one of those buckets, and that's okay. That's just uncategorized. But we're going to sweep these out or kick these out, okay? Because we don't want anything that's not an SWO or T. So we can see this is what we end up with over here. So strings, right? That's 0.0. Uncategorized, we had about 1,000. So about 1,000 out of 1,600. So we can only categorize these about 600 of the 1,000. So 800 would be about half. So less than half get categorized. That's okay. If we take some time, we could come up with better definitions for the mapping, or a competitive advantage, strong performance, core strength. Or honestly, like I'm just thinking about this now, it's a little bit late in the game to have innovative ideas because I already brought up all the logic. This is done as far as I'm concerned. But we could use AI to try to make this assessment too, right? We can dump this into ChatGPT or download some kind of Hugging Face model and let the tool do the lift for us. So I actually defined all of these conditions over here, or I typed this out, right? But we can let AI do the job and probably get more than 600 out of the 1,600 actual definitions. But we have enough to work with, so I think it's kind of a moot point. We have almost 200 strengths, weaknesses, 149 threats, 24, and opportunity is 109. So the mean score of all of this, and you have to understand a lot of these are zeros, it's kind of dragging that down a little bit artificial, but the mean score is about 0.03. So the interpretation here is a majority of the articles didn't match the keyword rules. And there's probably ways that we can improve that, right? They weren't classified, but we could use AI to somehow bucket those and say, hey, you know what? Do your best to fit these 1018 uncategorized items or labels into one of these four buckets. It has to be S, W, O, or T and make a best assessment. And you can assign probabilities to these too. You could say, 90% likelihood that it's a strength, maybe 10% likelihood it's an opportunity or something like that. We can get AI to do the lift. I didn't do that in this case. That's fine. Strengths dominating the classified, all the classified labels. Weaknesses and threats are less frequent than strengths. Opportunities are present but not dominant, and this implies generally favorable media sentiment. So what's sentiment? It's a feeling. It's basically positive, neutral, or negative. If you had to label that one of three different ways, the sentiment is kind of a feeling. You feel good. That's optimistic. Pessimistic would be bad. And if you have no feeling, that would be neutral. Okay. So we can build a very small UDF over here. This is a user-defined function. We have the news data frame over here. If I take you back, everything comes from that news data frame that we fetched. Originally, we went to Google and fetched back all the news articles, right? So we have the news data frame and a company name. And for all the categories in either strength, weakness, opportunity, or threat, we want the headlines, and we're going to join these together with a line break. \n means next line. And if it's not included in one of these S, W, O, or T categories, then no major news was identified. Okay, so we can go ahead and use ChatGPT to do this lift right here. Now I don't have my API key. I can't expose it. I can't give that to you guys, right? But if you let me look for this thing really quick. ChatGPT API. Give you the link. I've been using this quite a bit recently for some other videos I'm making. Login. It should have me logged in as this. Okay, let me just try this thing here. Or you know what, that's fine. You just have to log in. So the first time you go here and create the API key, it's going to ask you for a credit card number. Go ahead and put your credit card in. It's very easy to use this thing. It's very efficient and very affordable too. It's like, why cancel that? And there is a small charge, right? So you do have to put in your credit card, but it's so cheap, it's totally worth it. I've used this service quite a bit in the past. ChatGPT. In the past several months, I've been using this quite a bit. And I think all in for all the requests I made for ChatGPT for all kinds of different things, it charged me about $5 probably in about 5 months. So I'm not using this thing every single day, right? But I use it enough that it's probably several times a week, and I've only worked up $5 in charges. So the point is it's very affordable. It's very cheap to use this thing. Not totally free, but it's not going to break the bank. Okay. So you do have to put in your API key. I can't disclose mine. I can't display mine because it's personal and confidential. But when you put in your API key, I guarantee this will run. And the chat GPT engine or model, whatever, this is called the model right here. This is the one that I prefer, GPT-4. You can see on the page, you have a few to choose from. They have older, actually, is that might be the new one. You know what? I'm a little bit away from the pricing. Oh, this looks more familiar. Okay. So they have a 4.1 mini, and 4.1 nano. I'm not even sure what that is. This might be a newer one. You can tell by the price. You pay more and you get more. $8 for 1 million tokens. Oh, that's the same price. 1.6 million tokens and 0.4 million tokens. So you can tell this is the best product that they have right now, and you pay a little bit more for that, right? So you can see by the breakdown here, $2 for 1 million tokens, 40 cents for 1 million, and then 10 cents for 1 million. Oh, so this is the best one right here. Okay, so that's top. That's the next level down, and that is the next one. But again, the point is it's pretty cheap to use this stuff, and very, 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 very helpful. So I put in my API key. I can't run this now because there's no API key, and it's gonna crash, right? Because it doesn't know who I am without the key. But I did this earlier today, ran it, and I came up with this. So all you need is a basic prompt over here. You can see behind the triple quotes, you have F. You're just feeding in this text right here, triple quotes. Your business strategist, based on the following news headlines, generate a SWOT analysis. So I'm giving it a prompt. I'm giving it a request, and it's spitting back a response to me based on the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for company, whatever company I'm feeding in, right? This is the company, this is a variable that I'm putting in here, and that comes from over here, okay, company name and the news data frame. So we have the news data frame, which is this over here, and the company. So it's getting it from company name, the company, right? So where's that? Company name equals the company. Then it's going to chat GPT, and it's going to make an assessment for whether it belongs in an S, W, O, or T bucket. Okay, so here's strengths. So I'm going to chat GPT with that request. It's giving me back a response. It says Tesla's use of AI and automation, such as invoice processing, provides competitive advantage. That's a strength for Tesla. Weaknesses: the news headline does not provide specific weaknesses for Tesla. However, general business struggles with dealing with tariffs, managing road funding, and handling diverse dialects and AI could potentially apply to Tesla. Okay, so that's a weakness. Opportunities: emerging markets present potential growth opportunities for Tesla, especially in the consumer electronics sector. And threats: regulatory risk is a significant threat for Tesla, especially as rules and regulations around electric vehicles and autonomous driving continues to evolve. Right, so we just went on to ChatGPT and said, for the name Tesla, give me S, W, O, and T, and definitively create these buckets and give me some character and some depth and some definition behind these things. Okay, what's its strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat for Tesla? So I put in Tesla. You can put in Microsoft. I can't run it, okay, because I don't have the API key. But whatever you put in here, it's going to go ahead and make a request to ChatGPT. It goes to the model, fetches the response, and pulls that back, and then prints out the response to you right here. Okay, so it prints out everything, a nice formatted return statement, and then based on that, I can take everything from the news article and create a word cloud. These are called word clouds. Okay, and I can see what um, for each of the category: strengths, opportunities, weakness, and threat. What are the major words in that news article, right? So the bigger the word, the bolder, and the bigger the font is here, then the more times that word shows up in the article, right? So it's based on the frequency of the word, and the frequency of the word of the occurrence is going to be directly correlated to how large the word is. So regulatory comes up a lot, competition comes up, factory magazine comes up. That is on threat. So also supply, markets lower, regulatory, that's another threat, competition. More threats include AI investing, regulatory, competition, chain issue, probably supply chain issue. Supply chain, I see that right there. Market slowing, threats again, and we can see supply chain issue and competition showing up again. Okay, so anyways, just very, very interesting technique how we can go ahead and fetch news articles from Google. We got 1,600 articles. We converted those into a mapping system so we can get the S, W, O, and T, map those, and then ask ChatGPT, hey, tell me about a specific company. Tell me about Microsoft. Tell me about Tesla. Tell me about Amazon. This is Tesla right here. It basically takes what it's learned from the news article that it procured from Google, makes an assessment of what is SWOT, and then goes to ChatGPT and gives you more definition, more character, more insight, more intelligence into what are the major SWOs and Ts for this specific company, Tesla, right? So based on Google News and ChatGPT model 4.0, 4. Or just 4, it's just straight up 4, GPT-4. So that's it, guys. All you'd have to do is, again, apply for your own API key. You can see the API over, where is it? Or right here. Put in your specific API key, run it. Everything's going to run perfect. I guarantee you. I test this code. It runs totally fine. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. I like to get feedback from people. I don't really get a whole lot of feedback, but it helps. I get some, and some people say, "Hey, can you talk about this topic?" And usually I do. I can't answer every single one, but I try to get to most of them where people have questions. One time I created an algorithm, it didn't work. Somebody says, "Hey, I don't think this is working." I took a look, it actually wasn't working, so I fixed it. So that was helpful. I got that working. Um, so yeah, that's it, guys. So the code should work totally fine as is. If you have questions, let me know. Go ahead, download the code. I just saved this as an HTML file. I'm gonna upload that when I upload the video, and you can have everything you need. You can copy and paste this and run it on your own system. You'll get exactly what I got. Or put in a different company name over here, right here, change that, and of course put in your API key and have fun with this stuff. I think it's pretty cool to learn, to interact with, um, to explore, right, and just to be innovative and come up with new ideas, and what you can do with the technology that we have available to us today. So I think that's pretty cool too. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up right here. Kind of shorter one today. I don't want to go over some of these, just drag on and on. I can easily hit 40 minutes, 50, sometimes over 60 minutes, but I try to be efficient and to you know um, respect your time too as well. So that's it. I'm going to end it here, and I will see you guys in the next video, which I'll put out pretty soon. Thank you and goodbye.